Hi everybody, welcome to Jenkins Boat Works. I am Chuck Jenkins. In this video we continue work on our Somme Sound 12.5 sailboat building project. We did take a little time off for Christmas and I hope you all had good holidays and a Merry Christmas. We got to play with some grandkids, see all of our kids, and it was wonderful. Saturday now after Christmas and I found some time to get back in the boat shop. So we're glad you're here. And today we're going to work on beveling the inner stem. And this is a little bit of a trick, and maybe you can kind of see on the plan over here, there's a lot of numbers and description and what have you about how do we take those numbers off the plan and apply them with a bearding line and the front face of the inner stem to get a bevel that will allow our planking to lay fair as it comes in. So this was one of the last things I need to do before I could get this set and attached to the 4-foot frame and the 2-foot frame. And I kind of wanted to not do this on the jig. And so you're going to get to watch me have some trial and error as I decide what tools to use as to what's going to be the best to do this. And quite honestly, it really was pretty easy to do. So hopefully I can share some tips and tricks with you. And we're just about ready to set this on the boat, and then we're going to be able to start working on the keelson. And that is going to be super exciting. So one more step toward planking is really what it boils down to. If you happen to be new to the channel, we're glad you found us, and so consider subscribing. This is a long, ongoing project, and if you were looking for a boat build that will have some duration, hopefully this is it. And if you subscribe, click the little bell, you'll get update notifications on future videos. Also, there's a playlist, and I think we've got about 20 videos so far, so if you, the playlist will be linked at the end of the video and also in the video description. So everybody else, we're glad you're back. Let's jump in and I'll show you how I got the stem shaped. Well, one of the things that's kind of fun about building a boat is that sometimes you need to buy a new tool. This is a marking gauge guide that I got from Rockler. And I think what I'm going to do with it is mark out a center line on the stem over there. I don't do much with metric, but I was getting ready to have to come into half of this with a 32nd of an inch. And my guide here has millimeters on it. So I measured it and it is 56 millimeters. I started to think that was going to be 23. It's not 23, it's 28. So I've set my pencil on this little marking gauge at 28 millimeters, and we should just be able to place this edge on the side. Like that. And then I think, oh, that's cool. Look at that. It's hard to do and holding the camera, but yeah, that's gonna work awesome. All right, so I've got my template taped up here on the plan because I need to make some additional marks on the actual stem. So one of the first things I'm doing is I'm going to start marking where these planks go. Once we get the bevel on, which is what I'm getting ready to work on. I've got my line here and I actually have it drawn on the stem. So we're gonna have to take this bevel down, but I kind of wanted to mark where these planks are because it's not something that I've done yet. Now, so that gives me a good idea where I'm at. Now, the next thing I want to worry about is what these dimensions are. So this here says 5/16. right there. And this one says 3/8 right here. 7/16 at this point. Seven sixteenths here. So pretty much 7/16 all the rest of the way. So what those are is half breadths that will be marked off from the center line of the stem. So, well, hi Toby, what are you doing? Hi. You need a drink, don't you? So then, here is our stem. And you can see we've got our, I guess that'd be called a bearding line on here. So that's where we're gonna bevel in. And so basically these numbers that I just wrote on here, like this 7/16 or 3/8, that I believe, and we'll double check this, but I believe that's how far we come off of our center line. So if it's up here, which would maybe correspond with that up there, it's 3/8. So we'll measure 3/8 off this center line on both sides of it, and then we'll bevel to that off of this line here. Okay, so I took my template off of the plan over there, and you know, we've got our line down the middle here of this, but when I get on this side, I don't have a line on here yet. So it was pretty easy to do it on the other side, but now I have to flip it over to get it on here. Now I'm happy to see that it matches up pretty good with the line I've got here, and with our cutout part back here. So if I do that, what I did is I just punched holes in this all the way down from these dash marks on this side. So now I should be able to, I think I'm going to tape this down on here so it doesn't slide. Well, you know what, we're okay. So I can just start punching some holes in here. Right in these holes that I made. And hopefully I'm going to be able to see those. Oh yeah, I can see them good. I gotta say, I'm somewhat amazed at how good this template worked and how nice this stem came out, and how it just seems like it's all matching up very nicely. It just sort of fades into this up here. Once we've got the keelson on there, then it'll have to have its own bevel, but at least we'll know where our line should be. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's easy to follow. I'm going to get the marker and we'll draw that on there. Then we can start figuring out what our distances on there are. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So the next thing now is we got to get a line on here based on what those distances are supposed to be. Well, let's match it up with one inch in the middle there. So right here is supposed to be 5/16 off of the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16, just slightly more than a 1/4 inch. And so the same thing over here, 5/16. Here goes to 3/8. So 1, 2, 3/8. So it's getting slightly wider as we come down, which would make sense. 1, 2, 3/8. And then once we get to here, oh, it's still 3/8 here. So I know you couldn't see that back here, but there we are. We got our line. We're just going to draw that. We're just going to connect the dots. And there we have it. So now we're going to plane from this line up to this line. So it's just we're just going to take a little triangle right off of there and on both sides. And that should be pretty equidistant here to here. We'll do some extra measuring, just make sure, but I feel real good about it. It looks like it's just going right down the middle of it. All right. Now, how to get that off of there the easiest, I'm not sure. Spoke shave might work. Power plane might work for a little bit, maybe not. Okay, so when we see this 3/8 here, or either 5/16 up here, that's a half width of the face of the inner stem. So this is our inner stem, this is the outer stem. We're not worried about that at all right now. All we're trying to do is get a bevel on here for the inner stem. So if that's 3/8, this should be 3/8 from here to the center line, and from the center line out it's another 3/8. So 6/8 is 3/4. So that should be 3/4 of an inch. And I measured it on here and it is. Then I came over to my lines that I've drawn, and same deal. We're 3/4 of an inch up here at the top of the stem. And similarly down here, 7/16, so that'd be 14/16 or 7/8, and we're just right close to 7/8 here. So I now know that my beveling lines should be good. Now I'm kind of thinking about seeing if I can take the jigsaw. I may take it on this line and try to see if I can get an angle on it to cut this off just as I go down here. I could at least get some of it off of there, you know, a chunk. I have to be kind of cool down here because that angle changes rather significantly. So we'll just have to pay attention to how the blade's coming through here, if I can do it at all. And maybe we can. I'm gonna try. Be a lot better than doing it all by hand. I'm gonna test this. I got this locked down as far as it'll go at an angle like that. If I come on here, just try to come in at about the middle of there and see where it cuts through to. This is all wasted anyway. This is not going to be part of the boat, so we can kind of test and play with it here. Oh, I guess it helps if you plug it in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with a different answer. That's not gonna work. It was a good idea. All right, so I do have a spoke shave, and we can probably make fairly quick work of some of this. I'm clearly gonna have to get it clamped down better. Well, oh yeah, that's gonna work. Just don't go over either line. Boy, that's a fairly shallow angle there. That's why the saw wouldn't work very good on that, because there's just no way I could get that angle that steep. It's a lot smoother coming the other way. It's just all about how there's some grain in there, but you remember we laminated this, so this is not just a solid piece of wood. It's all glued up. Got a little gouge in there. Maybe go just a little bit easier, not to take so much pressure on it. All right. Man, we're really close. Okay, so that's clearly the way to go, is taking the spoke shave first and then coming back in here with the sander. And one of the things I did with the sander is I tried to hold it just perfectly flat on there, not rounding. I want a flat surface, even though it's a progressive bevel, I still want it to be pretty flat. And I was afraid that with the spoke shave, I was catching little ridges and then getting those to where it was getting more rounded than flat. So I got a 60 grit sandpaper on here, and I am close enough to the line now that I'm going to quit on this side. We'll finish up and do this other side, and we should be set. Something that I note is that, okay, so we laminated this up with Douglas fir and epoxy, and I can see the little pieces of each laminate in there. This is much easier to work than white oak. White oak is what we used when we did the Haven, and on that one, there wasn't an inner and an outer stem. It was all one piece. So you basically were cutting this in as a rabbet, and it pretty much had to be done with the chisel. I'm happy with that. That looks great. We're not going to take it all the way to the line. We're very close. If it needs to be fine-tuned when we're actually putting a planking on, then that still gives us some material to work with. So this went way faster than I thought it was going to. I thought this was going to be multiple hours, and the fact of the matter is, from the time we started drawing lines on here to now, maybe 2.5 hours. So this went pretty quick, and some of that's just having the right tool. And clearly a sharp spoke shave is definitely the tool for this job. So, all right, onward and upward. Boy, once we get this thing set, we're just about ready to start working on the keelson. So that's pretty exciting. If you like the video, remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.